Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers would practically build themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today I am going to take you where I went a couple weeks ago, which was Marysvale, Utah. Now I do this around July 4th. We have kind of a family reunion, a family get-together if you will, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So the past couple of years, we've done things like show you some of the beautiful scenery, show you a little bit of the town. We went to the Caboose Village that's down there. We looked at a couple of the wrecking yards that was down there a couple of years back to see what was there. And we've also been to Butch Cassidy's boyhood home, which is all down there in that area. Today, I'm going to show you what I saw when I went on a little drive. And I'm also going to share with you some of the areas that we went on our little four-wheeling or little off-road excursion, and one of the little ghost towns that's nearby there. Not really much of a ghost town, but it has some very big significance. So stick with Mad Dog Merv as we go over my latest little trip to Marysvale, Utah.
Marysvale, Utah is about 3 hours south of Salt Lake City, and it is situated right along US Highway 89, which is a main route north and south through the state of Utah. And here you can see Marysvale is a very small place. You come down the hill, there's a short flat area, and that's where Marysvale is. You go up the hill and you're out of town. So the cabins that we stayed in, where that white truck is, that was the cabin that I stayed in this time and last time as well. Pretty comfy, and man, I slept so good out there in, well, the birds chirping and the stream gurgling, all that kind of fun stuff. It was wonderful. Now, you guys have heard me complain about all the potholes here in the valley, and here is proof. This is my one good rim that doesn't have a crack in it, but as you can see, there's a couple of big, huge dings in it from all these potholes. But regardless, the car is holding air, and the first day that I got there, because we got there late in the evening, so that second day, or first day that we were actually there, decided to go for a little drive in the country. And you can see down at the bottom left, the X is where the road from Marysvale connects with I-70, but right before it does, the old US 89 parallels I-70. So I thought I'd take this old road that I hadn't been on for like 50 years, and not far down the road, I see this. Looks like an old car, maybe an Impala or something. I don't know. Let's take a closer look. So I back up, and sure enough, it's like a 69, 68 Dodge Charger sitting out in this corral. Wow, I wonder what other cool stuff this person has out there. I did not stop, though, to talk to them. So I followed 89 for about 30 miles, went through Richfield, Utah, and just past Richfield, the mountains have these amazing colors all throughout them, but there's also one of the largest wrecking yards I've ever been to in my life, and that's Dwight's. And yes, they are open. Decided to stop in and see what parts they might have for the Blazer, as well as what other really cool things they might have. Now, I was here a couple of years ago and took some video then. It's still one of my favorite wrecking yards ever. And check this out, this Coronet that has seen better days, but I would venture to say it's probably salvageable. Some other really cool oldies here. There's a Thunderbird I can identify. Some other older vehicles that I can't. Look at this Ford convertible. Wow. Yeah, like I said, they've got some really neat older things here. Is that a 59 T-Bird, 60 T-Bird? The engine in it, and like a 64 through 66 T-Bird that's seen better days. Appears to be like a 67 Caprice or Biscayne or something, but a two-door. Chevy. That's kind of a neat deal next to a Nova. Here's the first Blazer in the group, and look, there's a lot of good usable parts there. I'm going to be able to get some good things off this Blazer. One fun thing about this wrecking yard is they've got a bunch of old tires and wheels laying around, and check this out. When's the last time you saw some slotted dish mags or some Keystone Classics and the old BF Goodrich tires? That's really cool. There was like 3 or 4 different sets here of Krager SS, as you can see here, the Keystone Classics, and a couple of sets of dish mags, which was really sweet. So if I had an older muscle car to put these on, I definitely would have been talking to them because they had complete sets. Check out this Coronet in the background there. It's a 4-door, but still, it seems to be in pretty decent shape. And that old Ford seems to be salvageable. Now check out this remains of this mid-70s Camaro. But what I didn't notice until later on was what was lurking in the background. Way back, right there in the center, look at that. It appears to be a 73, 74 Charger. They've got all sorts of oldies just intermixed all throughout this yard. And I did not go through the entire yard this year. I spent a good hour with what I did do. Here's another late 70s Camaro, and right behind it is an El Camino. Looks like a late 70s, early 80s Camino. That's pretty cool, and it looked like it was in good enough shape that it could be restored. Here's an 84 Blazer. I need some seat parts, so I think I'm going to be taking the seats out of this one. And check out what else they had just sitting out there. Yeah. I didn't inquire because then I would have been interested in trying to get it. But check that out. This is part of what they have there in their yard as well. So that evening, it was back to the pavilion. And here we are playing a game called Left, Right, Center. I'll have to explain that some other time. But after our great dinners, we would always get together for games. And here we are as a group being goofy with our glasses on. So here we are, day 2 of the trip. We get up in the morning, have breakfast, and we're going to head out on the ATVs on a trail and go to the lake. Beautiful scenery, as you can see, that beautiful meadow that we pass. So many different meadows, so many different types of trees, little streams up to rivers and even lakes. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, it's about 10, 15 degrees cooler up in the little canyons and up by the lake than it was down in Marysvale itself. But look at these beautiful wildflowers there on the edge of the lake. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful scenery. And a great time with family, just enjoying being out in nature and looking at this beautiful scenery. So here we all are at the lake. I can't remember the name of this lake, but anyway, we've stopped here a couple of different times. Usually we'll have a little bit of lunch and just enjoy sticking our feet in the water. Well, when we were done, it was time to come back, and again, a wonderful banquet awaits us. This is our friend Snacks, who helped to prepare the food this time around. Now, on the third day, I'm interested in doing a little bit of ghost town tracking, and here we are headed out east again. But in this particular map, you can see on the green X on the right-hand side, this is the cabin area where I stayed, and that big circle, well, that's an important part of Marysvale history. And looking through this gate, this is where the old DNRG tracks used to go. Now the old tracks went for about a mile to the south of here, not quite a mile. But off center on the hill, you'll see some ruins, and that's the ruins of this mining facility, or this facility that we're going to talk about. And this was part of it. About 300 yards south of there was another part of it, which you could barely see on the right-hand side, the upper part of that particular picture. These were the ruins of the Mineral Products Corporation mill. It was a alunite reduction mill, and it was put up in this area about 1917. It only was in business for a few years. So about 4.5 miles southwest of Marysvale, there's a little ghost town called Alunite. It's near the mouth of Cottonwood Creek Canyon. And at this site was where they had actually found a large deposit of alunite in the early 1900s. Well, one of the things that you can do with alunite is when you process it, you come up with potash, and you also get a byproduct of some aluminum. The American Fertilizer Company built this mill at the little town of Alunite. They were an affiliate of the Armor Packing Company, which is kind of interesting. However, during World War I, because we got most of our potash from Germany, and we didn't get that anymore because of the war, well, this became the largest mill of potash, producer of potash in the United States through the era of the First World War. Here's some pictures of the mill back when it was doing its thing. Now, it stayed into production through about 1921, although after World War I, the prices of producing potash here were higher than if they imported them from other places. So that's why it declined and eventually went out of business. But at one time, this little town had a little school, it had a store, and it had some churches. About 1,000 people at one time, which was kind of interesting. Now, as I went to go out there, there's a big no trespassing sign at that gate that goes to the road to this place. So I wasn't able to go and visit the site. But I was able to find these pictures online of that old mill that was out there. Now, this was torn down in 1942 for the war effort because they were no longer using it. They took the metal and melted it down for scrap. But apparently there's still one chimney out there still at Alunite. So I'll save you from having me tell the whole story. You guys look it up, but just know that this was one of the largest potash producers during World War I here in the United States. Pretty cool. Well, hey, thanks for joining us, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. I had a great time on that trip, and we'll see you again soon.